Hi everyone, we're back again with another episode of goal setting, and I'm just going to talk through quickly why we have goals. Goals serve as like an essential element into motivating and planning our lives, and they kind of offer a direction and a clear focus on our aspirations as well. And goals can kickstart like new patterns of behavior that aid in like personal growth and development because we don't want to be staying in our comfort zones. We want to get out of those comfort zones and achieve new things. And achieving goals provide a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment.
I will talk about this one because this is really super important to me. And intrinsic and extrinsic goals. So a lot of the time we just pluck goals out of the sky. We're like, we want to do this, we want to do this, we want to do that. First off, we need to decide whether that goal is right for us and is it the right time. You can have so many different goals and they can contradict each other and be quite stressful. So when we're thinking about the goal that we're setting, we need to make it sure it falls in line with our values. So this is where intrinsic and extrinsic goals come in line to have a look at what they are. So extrinsic is where you're doing it for an outer um achievement, really. So that could be coming from you want it to look good on your CV, or you might want it you might think, for example, I want to get to X weight, or I want to get to this dress size because I know my partner found me attractive at that dress size. Or you think, right, okay, I want to run a half marathon because it'll look really good on my social media and everyone will give me a well done. I know we don't think like that, but sometimes we can get to the bottom of it being an extrinsic goal. It might be you want to wear a specific dress or get into a X size. It might be if you've just had a child and you think, oh, I want to get down to my previous weight really quickly. So people think that I have handled everything really great with motherhood, things like that. Then we've got intrinsic goals where you want to do it for you. So it's not an aesthetic goal. It's from within, a sense of achievement for you and only you. And the way I picture these goals is if you was the only person on the planet, would you still want to do it? So if there's nothing coming from any social media or gratification from your mum and dad or your partner, or again, another goal for an extrinsic one is people sometimes want to go to university or do all these studies when actually they don't want to do that, but they're doing it because their parents think they should, or their boyfriend's gone to I don't know, London University and they want to be with their boyfriend. So they're going to London University. That's a goal that's not for you. And it's an extrinsic one. Whereas intrinsic, we are doing it if it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if anyone else turns up on the day. If you're doing it for you and you're going to be happy going to sleep knowing that you've done it for you, I think is a game changer. Because if you're doing the goal for someone else, it might be your partner started couch to 5K. You don't really care about doing couch for 5K, but you've set it as a goal for yourself. You're never going to achieve it to your best ability because you don't care about it that much. So having those intrinsic goals makes it personable to you, and you're really gonna set a deadline, you're gonna achieve it, and you're gonna get that feeling of accomplishment from actually doing it. So be careful when picking your goals and make sure that they are right for you. Now, my intrinsic goals are, and it's good to have both, like there's no wrong, no right, but you know that the intrinsic goals, you're going to achieve them. It doesn't matter. They don't need a time frame on them. You know, for me, when I was doing my competitions, there was a very big difference to the first competition that I ever did. It was quiet. I didn't tell anyone. It was under the radar. Only my mum and my partner knew. Everyone else just thought I was going mad, you know, doing all these random things and being at the gym for all hours of the day. They just thought, God, she's really on it at the minute. And then eventually when the pictures came out, they was like, oh my God, she's done a competition. Now I know why. And that was just purely for me. That was my very first competition. My last competition, which was the 12th competition, it was very different because I was in there and I did want to do it for a trophy. I did, and I'm proud to say it because I got the trophy and I was really hungry for that because I wanted to do it for, you know, I wanted to do it for me, but I did want to do it for that title. You know, I'd earned those stripes and I really wanted to go for it. So it was a bit of both, but it was definitely extrinsic because I wanted to do it for that outer, but I'd already done the intrinsic, so it was very different. Any goal that I've ever tried to set for an extrinsic, and I'll give you a picture on this,
Mm.
was I wanted to get into a X dress for someone's wedding. And I really wanted to do it, but I wanted to do it for the wrong reasons because I wanted to do it for, you know, on the day people go, oh, you know, you look nice, you know, whatever. And I had this dress and I wanted to feel good in it. You know, I wasn't uncomfortable in the way that I looked, but I would have felt better if I was, you know, a couple of pounds lighter and I fit in this dress. But the wedding was way, way ahead in the future. And coming up to that wedding, I still had to live a life. So it was an extrinsic goal for me to set an unrealistic lean look at that wedding when I had all different things going on into the run up to that wedding, which didn't fall in line in what I want to achieve. I had some holidays, I had some this, I had some that, and I wanted to live in those moments, which obviously exceeded, you know, my time of going into the gym, my calculations of food. So it wasn't matching up. And again, I actually didn't really care. It was one day for me to, you know, look this visual lean that I wanted, and then that day would be over. So
Mm.
it was an extrinsic goal, and I never made it. And it really didn't make a difference because on the day I had a great time. We had social events, and I was probably, yeah, sitting a little bit heavier than what I'd have liked, but so be it. Still had a really good time. And that was the extrinsic. I never made it because it didn't truly fall in line with what I wanted in that time. And knowing that you've got that button press of intrinsic, extrinsic, I think it makes a big difference into how you achieve it, how to execute it. You know, if it's someone else's wedding, you're not, you know, but if it's your wedding, then you're gonna nail
Mm.
it.
Mhm.
But that was just my example for you. So I hope that just kind of resonates with people a little bit of what they're working towards and why they're working towards it. Yeah, I don't know if you can relate, Kimberly.
Yeah, I felt the passion there, Jamie. I felt it come through the computer screen. I love it.
I'm a passionate person.
No, yeah, I completely like relate to it because and I guess it's quite a journey going from extrinsic to intrinsic as well because like like there was a point where I was so focused of like, you know, if I want to lose weight, I'm going to be doing it for like my boyfriend or doing it for someone else because they kept saying I looked good, so I'll keep doing it for them. And then it's just that journey and having that realization of, well, actually, am I really happy? What am I doing it for? I just actually need to do it for me. And actually, when I changed that mindset from extrinsic to intrinsic, so much, I was so much happier and so much healthier. And I also kind of gave myself the knowledge as well. So I really looked within when I started to say change my mindset around yeah, looking outwards rather than actually looking inwards. So yeah, well, it's so much, it's a journey, isn't it, between those two
Yeah,
goals.
absolutely. And you can see how it just you speaking there, you can see how journeys are so different because
Mm,
you say extrinsic first and then intrinsic. I say intrinsic and then extrinsic, and that's because our journeys started different. I think my
yeah,
journey started because it was intrinsic for me. It
yeah,
was my journey was it was all about it was really, and then I got a little bit more extra, like, oh, what do people think? Like, I went that way. Whereas from your journey, it seems to see that you was a little bit extrinsic and now you're intrinsic. And
yeah,
again, there's no wrong, no right. It's just having that why and knowing what you're doing.
yeah. I didn't even realize that until you just said that. It's crazy, isn't it?
I know, yeah. And you go backwards and forwards depending on what the goal is. It purely depends. Like you might have a few extrinsic goals going on, you might have a few intrinsic goals
Mm,
going on. You can have different, they're all personable.
I love it. I love it. I've actually learned so much about extrinsic and intrinsic goals already.
Oh, I'm here.
Thank you. I'll speak about SMART goals because these sort of goals can also help as well. And I guess extrinsic and intrinsic can come within these as well, I guess, depending on what the actual goal is. So I'll start with like being specific. So we want to get down to the nitty gritty of what your actual goal is and what exactly you want to achieve. So the more specific you are, the better. And I'm a massive believer in manifestation. So the more specific you are, the more you're likely to manifest it. And then measurable, like how we're going to measure that. So depending on the goal, there's different ways to measure this. So if we're weighing ourselves, for example, it's using the same set of scales at the same time of day. It could be you're measuring it with dress sizes, or you've got a pair of trousers that are a little bit too tight for you, and you might want to keep them to kind of show how far you've come. Progress pictures I love because you can really see like the visual difference, and that's what you want to see is like the visual difference. Body measurements as well, so measuring in centimeters, and that can be on the arms, thighs, like around the neck, and other parts of the body, like hip and waist as well, is a good one. And also coming down to recognizing how you actually feel physically, emotionally, and mentally. So it's not all about these numbers and these figures that are flying around because that can get very attachable. So I like to kind of, especially with clients, is just recognizing, okay, if you're not seeing anything measurable going on, then let's clock into how are you actually feeling physically, emotionally, or mentally. And nearly all of them come back and been like, well, actually, mentally, I feel a lot better around food, or physically, I'm feeling stronger in the gym, or I'm lifting heavier. So things like that are also measurable. Next one is kind of agreed. So you can either, if you're setting your own SMART goals without like a coach, then agree it with yourself, but with your coach, definitely agree with your coach because there's we're working with you to get to your goal, so we're going to need to agree that if it's realistic or not. And that brings me on to realistic goals. So is your goal actually realistic? So for example, if we're aiming for £1 loss per week and you've got, I don't know, a Hendo in 7 weeks, and that's quite durable for weight loss, for example. So yeah, it's just being realistic about it because I think a lot of expectations is, oh yeah, I'm going to lose like £7 in 1 week, and that means I'm going on a Hendo next week, for example, but it's just not realistic. It's just not realistic to do, really. So it's just keeping an eye out on that realistic. And as coaches, we will pull you on that being realistic as well. um and timed, like, is there a deadline you want to work towards? Like, it could be a wedding, hen do, birthday, like a 30th birthday, or a milestone birthday, or just wanting to feel better within a certain amount of time. And again, that goes back to being realistic with time, because sometimes you might come across weeks where you've not tracked your food, or if you've got a meal plan, like not sticking to a meal plan, or you've not exercise as much that week. Like you might just see a maintain rather than a loss. So it's just coming back to realistic. But having time, like having a deadline can work for some people, but we want to be careful of having deadlines that are unrealistic, because then that will put pressure on yourself, and then pressure on yourself will give you stress, and then our stress levels will go up, which means you won't lose weight. um so yeah, I think those are like the smart goals to have, and I think that's really important to have, or have like some sort of structure for smart goals as well. Right, I don't know if this is cheesy or not, but I thought this one.
Love that. Love a cheesy quote.
I love it. So goals are like the North Star of our dreams, leading us on thrilling adventures through life's twists and turns. There are personal scorecards, the gold stars, the gold stars that show how far we've come and how high we can soar. So yeah, I apologize, that's quite cheesy, but it's so true.
Yeah, I love that. No, I like it. I'm gonna use that one.
Yeah, yeah, do it. But yeah, it relates. So yeah, having goals is so important. How do you often do your goals, Jamie? Do you like write them down, or do you have it in your head?
Yeah, so I do like monthly goals. I will write them down when I will section them off into whether they're like work, lifestyle, or whether they're just a few habits I want to start implementing. And then like on the last day of the month, I'll tick off what I have achieved, and then I'll be like, some of them fall off, and they're like, actually, I don't really care about that one anymore. It was great. For the first week, but it's not serving me now, so yeah, we'll get rid of that one. Or it's like, oh God, I mean, stretching's on my goals like on my habits every single month, and
Mm.
I start off strong, but I'm terrible. So it's always on there. So I need to have a bit more of a greed in my smart thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, monthly goals, habits, things like that, and just reevaluating where they're at. Am I gonna want to do it? Yeah, I think just, and again, just speaking to that person and just recognizing, is it something I want to do? Do I want to move it into a different direction? And is it like, even like with reading books, I used to read so many books, and then my life changed and I don't read as many
Mm.
books. And if my target was still the same amount of books, I just constantly feel deflated because I'm not reaching it.
Mm.
Whereas now I just have like a lower count of how many books I want to read throughout the month. And then you, like you say, you're managing your expectations to fall in line with what you want to achieve, really. So yeah.
Love it. Mine's more of like a vision board. So I do like a vision board at like on New Year's Eve. I would usually do ready for the next year, and I'll just put like everything that I want to achieve for that year.
Love
And
that, yeah.
already, like one of them's already changed. Like one of them is about buying a house, and like me and my boyfriend had a conversation today about buying a house, and we've got two flats to sell. And realistically, I was like, oh, maybe we won't actually be in the house this year, but I'm kind of thinking differently towards that goal of we might buy one this year, but maybe move in next year, sort of thing. So that's already kind of changed, and things will change depending on what goes on in life. But yeah, mine's more of like a vision board, and then I'll save it on my laptop background and my phone background, and just have it there. And already one of them I've kind of nearly nailed as well. So I've nearly lost, since the beginning of the year, I've nearly lost a stone, which was on my vision board. So some of them happen quite soon, some of them might just have a little bit longer.
Oh, good, good. That's it. Just reminding yourself of your goals. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thank you so much for your time, everyone that's listening and watched, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Oh, thanks, guys. Bye.